Now, if this heat wave has you hoping for an escape that is anywhere but the beach, guys, you're in luck. Market Watch's Quentin Fottrell has done some digging. He's found 5 adventure vacation ideas that won't require air conditioning. They actually might require a big winter coat.
Right, and maybe sometimes a lot of money.
Yeah, and a lot of money. All right, let's start with the sort of sense that people can get these chilly vacations any time of year. They may not realize it if they're stuck in a heat wave, but how did you find these places that have these sort of packages?
Right, so I just spoke to my team of travel experts that every reporter turns to, and the power of the interweb, and I sort of combined the two and came up with some and I wanted to get places that were far apart. So we go from the North Pole all the way down to the sub-Antarctic.
All right, I'm looking forward to Christmas. Let's start with the North Pole. Tell us about this one.
Right, so this is twice a year. This year's have already left, but it's good for next year, and you may want to start saving because it costs $25,000. Is
that a boat in the middle of the ice I'm looking at? Yes.
Yes, and it's an icebreaker that goes out there. It starts from Murmansk in Russia. It takes usually about 8 days. This year's trip took 4 days.
Wow.
And it's quite an amazing sight. And then they go off on these floatable Zodiacs and take photographs of the local. They did have one fatality 2 years ago. The boat was hit by a wave, so I wanted to mention that.
Okay.
So it's not without risk, but it's certainly a trip of a lifetime.
And you have a statement from the company in your story that's on the website about that. Greenland. Tell us what you could do in Greenland.
So you can see the longest fjords, some of the longest fjords in the world.
Wow.
You can go hiking.
Kayaking.
Right, kayaking, whale watching. You can really do a lot of stuff in Greenland. I thought it was an interesting.
More affordable too.
More affordable. It's like you can do a trip there with Quark Expeditions for $6,500.
Yeah, that's not bad to get all the way to Greenland with that. Now, Alaska, there's not a cruise line, I don't know now, that doesn't go to Alaska. I mean, why is Alaska booming?
Right. Alaska, there's huge deals for cruises in Alaska, mainly because the Caribbean is so competitive and there's so much rivalry between different cruise companies. So they really are going to Alaska, and there's a lot of deals there at the moment, and it's just not proving as popular, I suppose, as the Caribbean.
And the Andes, this is another one. You could actually go skiing in the middle of the summer.
I didn't know this, but of course there are big mountains, in South America that have snow.
Right.
So some of them are over about 12,000 feet, so they're above the tree line. And the disadvantage of that is, the advantage is you don't get to run into any trees.
But it's windy.
It's windy, and they can be subject to closure. Some of these resorts, there's about 30 major resorts around South America, and some of them would not be as plush as some of the resorts you'd find in the US, for example, or in Europe in the winter time.
All right, but when you're staying in 130 degree heat in some places in the US, which they have been seeing close to that out west, being on ski slopes sounds pretty good. If you want to go almost to the end of the earth, at least if you are from where we're sitting, Tasmania, near Australia.
Right, so this is sort of a curious one too. It's about 150 miles off the southern coast of Australia. It's about the size of West Virginia. And there's an old penal colony there. It's got,
you want to see a penal colony on your vacation?
If you want to go see an old prison ruins, they're there. It's got dramatic coastal landscape.
Beautiful landscape.
Beautiful. It's the wilderness. It's 10,000 miles away, but you could couple it with a trip to New Zealand or to Sydney, Melbourne, and there are also cruises around there you can take as well to all of the other sub-Antarctic islands.
If you could make sure my BlackBerry wouldn't work in Tasmania, I'd be in for that, Quentin.
Probably won't.
Can you work on that?
Yeah.
All right, more at marketwatch.com. Thanks, Quentin, for being with us.
Pleasure.